Tell me if you can hear the video, okay? I'm about to play the video. Let me know, because I don't know why it's only playing in one ear. So let me turn this up. Now listen.
My name is Tony Busby.
Can you hear
Welcome to
that?
the 75th floor of Chase Tower, downtown Houston. I'm here with Crystal Del Toro, my colleague, and of course, Dr. Hillary Coffin.
Much better. Okay, cool.
You know, these kind of matters typically can be resolved without all this. As an example, I recently
Can I say this? This is a phenomenal piece back here. I absolutely love this artwork. I just really like it.
represented a very high-level executive from a Fortune 500 company who had come across some very disturbing information, and he personally raised it with the CEO of the company. He raised it several times, and nothing was done about it. Instead, what he was told was consider an exit strategy. So he came here to Houston, to the Chase Tower. I then raised that issue with the company, and then the general counsel of that company.
Guys, it's not okay. So I saw a comment and it says it can be solved without all this. Then why do this? This is a kind of a big case. This is like a literal NBA player that kind of did this, and it's a it's a multi-million-dollar franchise. You know, like, I don't know. Yeah, you kind of need a press conference because this is something that's going to be all over media. So yeah, this makes sense. The public wants to know, right? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Company got on a plane and came here to visit with me, and after several meetings with
In
myself,
cases like this, transparency is very important. That's all I'm saying.
my client, that executive, and the general counsel and his team, the issue was appropriately resolved. The issue was addressed. The executive was able to make an appropriate exit, and everything.
The press conference sound is low, but it's not me. It's literally them. It's this Kin 5. It's not me. I also saw somebody say that he's sleazy earlier, and yes, he's a lawyer. He's going to be a little sleazy, okay?
Was fine, and it never entered the public sphere.
Yeah. This is the women's lawyer, the same dude who went against Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
It didn't happen like that here, and that's what we tried to get to happen here. This was not a situation that when Dr. Coffin raised these issues with the management of the Spurs, she didn't run to the press. She didn't run off and file a lawsuit. She instead tried to handle things in a way that she felt was appropriate, in a way that would bring some real change in the Spurs organization. Unfortunately, that didn't work out that way. Before we get started, let me make it clear that we understand that there are laws in the state of Texas, and of course HIPAA laws, that protect a doctor-patient.
Okay, so with the HIPAA stuff, it protects it unless there's a crime. Pretty sure.
Confidentiality. The laws are very clear on that. The laws are very aggressive on that, as they should be. We have consulted the licensing board to make sure that we don't run afoul of those laws and of those requirements. We've consulted lawyers who specifically practice in these areas to make sure that Dr. Coffin doesn't say anything that is beyond what she's able to disclose. And I can tell you, and she'll tell you herself, she takes those laws and her ethical responsibilities very, very seriously. You know, she's got 5 degrees, she told me this morning. And she's obviously...
5? Also, I guess I was wrong. I thought it was... is it only murder in which... I need to read up on that again. Is it only murder in which you can kind of release certain things? I don't know. I guess this is a little different. 5 degrees is absolutely insane. That's a lot of degrees.
Very well credentialed, very well respected, and she wants to make sure that she does everything correctly. We've even been threatened. Some of you may have seen the letter that was sent to me yesterday from some lawyers from California threatening me personally and threatening Dr.
I'm not laughing at him getting threatened. This guy's like Hamlin. Primo lawyer is slipping Jimmy. Yeah.
Dr. Coffin with disclosing anything that may have happened in these sessions. And you know, one of the things, there is no Hippocratic oath in the law practice, but I've always believed that as a lawyer, the first thing you should do is do no harm to your client. When somebody sends me a letter threatening me that's baseless and silly, like the letter that I received yesterday, as I told them, perhaps they should follow the Hippocratic oath, because threatening me or threatening Dr. Coffin is probably not the appropriate way to go about doing what hopefully you're trying to do and advance your client's interests. So,
let's get into this, man. Come on.
Dr. Coffin won't, can't, and would not disclose what was said during any psychological session between herself.
Wait. Hold on.
Dr. Coffin won't, can't, and would not disclose what was said during any psychological session between herself and Joshua Primo.
I wonder if she would have done that before. I'm going to assume not. Another thing, too, and I can't just pull it up, willy-nilly, but apparently she has, like, really high integrity, or at least that's what her colleagues say about her. So she probably wouldn't have talked about it anyway, but that's my assumption. I don't know.
She can only disclose what is actionable conduct. That is conduct that might be considered and probably would be considered criminal under Texas law.
Once again, Kruba. Okay, let this known, all right? And I'll let this, I'm recording this as well for YouTube. Listen, she is not out for money. She's not getting any money from this, okay? So a lot of people that are saying that, you're just wrong. She's not getting money from this. I'm just letting you know.
And actionable in civil law. We do not believe, and I don't think anybody would believe, that what we're going to describe to you.
And honestly, hold on. Can I just be real? Even if she was getting money from this, I don't think it makes it any less credible. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think it makes it any. How do you know? It's literally. Hold on, I'll bring it up.
Would be considered nonverbal communication. One of the questions I asked the lawyer for Mr. Primo, this lawyer from California, is what is being communicated when a patient exposes himself to his psychologist? It's a question maybe they can answer for you. You should know that Dr. Coffin was contracted with the Spurs in April of 2021. Correct me on any of my facts that are wrong. She was hired as a consultant. She is in the field of clinical psychology. She has a PhD. She takes a comprehensive approach. She can help, of course, with performance issues. She also takes a comprehensive approach on mental health, and her range of expertise is quite broad. But she was hired to assist the players not only in enhancing performance, but also just dealing with the day-to-day issues that they have to deal with as professional sports players. She was on staff, and I think she'll tell you, to help the players be better players and better people. And I got to tell you, it was a dream job for her. And when you think about the field of clinical psychology...
Wait, let me correct myself. Hold on. There might be more to this. Hold on. Was that before... That might have been, she actually might have said that before. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on, let me open this up. Hold on. I might have been wrong. Doesn't really make a difference for me, but hold on. All right, let's look at this. Before we continue with this video, just look. Damages. Here we go. Plaintiff has incurred following damages: conscious, physical, mental, English, related to expenses past and future. Well, doesn't really make a difference. That's fine. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. All right, let's go and go.
For someone of her background, she was also a college athlete. This was the dream job for her.
Thanks, Alex.
I would call it the top of the mark for someone in her field of clinical sports psychology and performance enhancement. It was almost the very first session
this kind of jacked her up. You can tell this really messed her up.
With Joshua Primo, where he exposed his penis to her. That occurred in late December of 2021. She immediately raised that issue with the general manager of the Spurs organization in January 2022. It took a long time for her to get a meeting with him. He postponed the meeting multiple times. From her point of view, it seemed to be that they weren't taking it seriously or it didn't matter to them. But she finally got a face-to-face with the general manager and told him what had happened.
Can I say this? I don't think that that's bad in and of itself, the fact that he postponed the meeting many times, unless it was very blatantly, like, in his face, this is what was going on. Yeah, he's talking about Brian White, right. right now. Sorry if I'm a little scattered. And by the way, why the heck is the I don't know. Sorry if I'm scattered, but yeah, they're talking about Brian Wright. I don't think that that's bad in and of itself. Him postponing meetings that actually happens like all the time, so I don't think that's that big a deal. But with that being said, everything else I think makes it look worse.
Wanted something to be done about it. Instead of something being done about it, what instead happened was they continued to call upon her to have sessions with Mr. Primo and, of course, the other athletes. She did not want to lose this job. She was hoping that this.
Somebody said, "How do you do it 9 times and not leave?" Guys, this is like okay. All right, just hold on for a second. This is like a dream job for her. Okay. Not only that, a lot of times when it comes to people that's victims of this, they don't want to necessarily like be that guy necessarily. You know, like you don't want to have a really bad reputation around other NBA teams, not be able to get a job again because you were the one that came public with this type of information. She just trusted her employer. That's all it was. And you're saying like 9 times. There's no telling how many sessions they've had. And keep in mind, she probably doesn't hate Primo. Like that's the thing. Primo has a serious issue. She didn't hate Primo. More than likely, she has some type of empathy. I mean, that's kind of like instilled in you in her profession. You're going to have some type of empathy for your client. So she probably does care about her client. She cares about his trauma. She cares about all those things. I'm just going to go ahead and make that assumption. So it's not something where it's like, oh, why didn't she just leave, bro? She has like so many different clients with the Spurs. It's a 1-year contract, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Pretty sure. It's a 1-year contract. She's trying to get through it. And with this specific thing, all she was trying to do was reach out to Brian Wright, reach out to HR, and it seems like they didn't do anything. But you want to sit here and I'm not like just calling you out, but it's like a hyper fixation on like her. Like, why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do? That's not her responsibility when it comes to this. What would that have done? Her walking away. What if that have done? Would it have stopped anything? Or would Primo would just continue to do this? Because it sounds like they wanted to kind of, wash it on the rug. Brush it under that rug. You get what I'm saying? That's the point. It's not as simple as like, why didn't she just do this? Why didn't she do that? Why didn't the Spurs do something? No, I get it. Get all the facts before making judgment. But that's just something where it's like, I don't understand putting that on her. That's her employer there. She did her part. She was seeing all her clients. She was doing what she needed to do. She made the right complaints, at least, assumingly. We'll know more. But she did everything she was supposed to. What else is she supposed to do here? What? Ask him, why are you exposing yourself? What makes you want to expose yourself? And you're making a lot of assumptions that she didn't ask these questions. I don't. What does this have to do with anything? And then get to the root of the problem. Yeah, maybe they were trying to. I don't get your point. What's your point here? I don't know. I don't get your point. Are you serious? I don't know.
Conduct was somehow outside of the norm of Mr. Primo. She was hoping it was a one-time thing, if you will, but unfortunately the conduct continued to occur and in fact escalated. She ultimately, without going into the details, and there's a lot of detail in the petition that was filed this morning in Bexar County, but without going into it here, ultimately she found ways to not have sessions with Mr. Primo and to avoid him. What I want to focus on this morning is the way in which the Spurs organization responded to her reports. As I've already said, the general manager.
My point is, how do we judge if we weren't there? Is that your take, like, on everything? Like every single time something bad happens, you like just don't judge because you weren't there? Like every single thing. Wars, murders, rapes. You like, I wasn't there.
Did his best to avoid a meeting with her, but when he did have a meeting with her, he assured her that there would be an investigation, that there would be a written report. He called it a write-up. He assured her that Primo would be, the issue would be addressed with him, that he would be counseled, the conduct specifically would be addressed, and that there would be consequences. None of that occurred. In fact, his conduct wasn't restricted in
Who is right? I can tell you who was wrong. Joshua Primo.
any way. Instead, what happened was Dr. Coffin's activities were restricted. At one point, she was told, you can just work from home. At another point, she was told, you don't need to come to the facilities anymore. Just work from home. And it's okay if you don't come to the facilities. In multiple meetings with the assistant general counsel and the...
That is a Band-Aid right there. So it sounds like what they were basically telling her, like, oh no, we got your back. Just make sure you stay at home and see him. See him telecounseling. No, you don't have to see him in public, which is kind of strange, right? Like, you would think that you would try to punish Primo or try to get this under wrap. I don't know. Also, it's kind of wild. I don't know. Let's move on.
head of human resources for the Spurs organization. At one point, they
Clan, were you there? Yeah, I was there. I saw everything.
Her, which is ridiculous on its face, but they told her they wanted to do what they called a facilitated discussion with Dr. Coffin and Joshua Primo so they could figure out what it was that was compelling him to expose himself to her. They told her that they intended to make changes. Repeated, almost every meeting they told her that there's going to be something done. Nothing was done, of course. In one of the meetings, she had great respect for Coach Popovich. I think a lot of people see him as a progressive coach, somebody who speaks out on social issues, somebody who talks about culture. She insisted that he be aware of what was going on. She was told that he was aware about what was going on. Now, we can't stand here on the 75th floor of Chase and tell you that was the truth. We don't know at that point in time, and I'm talking about in June when they told her that. June of this year, they told her Coach Pop is aware, Coach Pop knows. I think we may have concluded here that at that point in time, she was being lied to. Ultimately,
this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting because this lawyer, he's pretty cutthroat, right? Like, we kind of know his deal, right? He's pretty cutthroat. He's saying that she was told that Popovich knew, but they believe that she was lied to. If he could throw Popovich under the bus, you think he would? Or do you think that this is like a way to make it publicly look better? I don't know. Pop is loved. I'm going to assume Pop didn't know. I mean, but that's just my like bias. Just as much as I kept up with Pop. I don't know. Interesting. Who is in my chat? These are not my normal chatters. Who's in my chat right now? What is wrong with these people? Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Rich boy, I'm making you a moderator. Ban anyone that talks like this.
what they told Dr. Coffin, instead of doing something with the player, what they did instead was tell her to, quote, sit it out, is what they told her. Then in July, when the team went to Las Vegas for some events for the 2022 summer season, they told her she didn't need to attend. She didn't need to travel with the team, although typically she would have. And then ultimately she was told, and I think this is kind of the most ridiculous thing she was told. They told her that they, that is the administration of the Spurs, and the team itself, had lost trust in her. And as she sat at home, apparently, and this is from reports because we had no involvement in any of this, but apparently as she sat at home, Mr. Primo, it's been reported, did it again in Vegas. Her
Wait. Oh, okay. Got it.
Contract came up for renewal in August. They chose not to renew her contract. And I guess nothing ever would have been done about this. We had been, by this point, she had contacted this office. I had contacted the lawyers for not only Mr. Primo, but also the Spurs organization. We had had multiple conversations about meetings that we were going to have.
You wonder how Primo was raised for him to be a predator at such a young age. Okay, keep in mind that, and this may make an assumption, okay, not trying to like diagnose or anything, but I did a video on this. He could potentially be an exhibitionist, and usually exhibitionists, those tendencies don't come up until you're like late adolescence, early adulthood. So it's very likely that if he has that, it would have came up around this time. So it's not something where, it's like, why is he so young and doing this? Also, with his upbringing, oftentimes people that are exhibitionists is some type of sexual abuse that they suffered. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know though. It could just be anything.
We were
There we go. Impeccable says it's clear Primo is an exhibitionist. It's a psychosexual disorder. Yeah.
resolved again to keep this quiet, not to put this into the public sphere, and try to see if we could figure out a way to put changes in place so this type of thing wouldn't happen again. And also,
the reason why I'm not going to trip too much about if Pop knew he needs to be down as coach is because, I mean, the victim and the lawyer, I mean, they're not even going after Pop, so kind of what's the point? Like I'm just going to make an assumption that he didn't know if the victim isn't even like going after him. So I don't know.
make sure that there was never any
Yeah,
suggestion.
I feel like once Pop knew, that's when like we were like, no, because the whole Minnesota thing came out, and then the Spurs immediately was like, okay, you're sitting this next game. So I don't know.
That she left because of anything she did.
No, you're right. Yeah, we got some filters on.
But apparently, more than a week ago in Minnesota, the conduct occurred again.
Let's see. Clan, you have a good heart, but I think you're giving her too much benefit too soon. Oh, I'm sorry. I know it makes it seem, okay, let me get this, let me let you know this, okay? I know it looks that way. I'm not just basing it off of just this, okay? I'm not like listening to, oh, the lawyer said it and she said it, therefore every single thing that they say is true. That's not what I'm going off of. I'm going off of how Josh Primo responded. I'm going off of how the Spurs have responded, and I'm going off of Josh Primo's attorney as well. It's a lot of different evidence here that makes me believe, at least making an inference, that he absolutely did this, or he did some portion of it. Like we'll go through all of it, but yeah, it's not just this. This isn't all I'm going off of.
And it was that conduct, I think, that precipitated Mr. Primo being released from the team. And so at that point, after more than 10 months of knowing about this conduct, after the general manager knowing about it, the general counsel, the deputy general counsel, and the head of HR, after 10 months, they finally released Joshua Primo. And I guess to add insult to injury, the public statements that the Spurs made, and the statement made by Mr. Primo are complete farces, a complete whitewash, and do not reflect actually what happened here. At the Spurs organization, they like to say that this is bigger than basketball. That's what they say.
We don't say that. DJ said that.
Their tenets are respect, care, and integrity. You'll see that on their website. You'll see that in some of their public statements.
Maybe we do say that. I don't know.
It's respect, care, and integrity. And of course, as you can see, they failed on all counts. We filed suit this morning against the San Antonio Spurs organization. We filed that case in San Antonio and Bexar County. We also filed suit against Mr. Primo himself. Josh Primo's conduct is obviously well outside the bounds of what is normal.
Exactly, EJJ. The damning thing is Primo did with two other women at different times beside her. He tried pulling the victim, and we're gonna get into that. The race car, we're gonna get into that. But no, yeah, that's completely right. Yeah, it's not just this. But then again, dude, I just sit back and I'll just be honest. I honestly don't really see a reason for her to like lie about this. I mean, if the amount of times is wrong, sure, like small details like that. But I truly do believe Primo did it based on everything that we're hearing now. So I don't know.
Or is acceptable. His conduct shocks the conscience. I would also say that the Spurs' conduct and the way they handled this matter was egregious and absolutely unreasonable.
Yeah, you're right. Pop does say it.
We've also had contact, and the truth is they reached out to us once this story broke. We've had contact with the authorities of Bexar County and San Antonio. There will be a criminal complaint filed for multiple counts of indecent exposure against Mr. Primo.
Ooh.
And we expect the authorities to prosecute. We expect them to prosecute. To the extent she is able to as a licensed professional, Dr. Coffin will participate in those proceedings. This came public because someone in the Spurs leaked the reasons for Josh Primo's departure, because we never said a word. In fact, this is the first time we've said anything about his conduct.
That's another thing. Primo did it, but why didn't she bring it to his attention, to Primo's attention? I did actually have that question in my head, but this is something that didn't really get out or anything, so we don't know 120, 150%. But I'm gonna assume her as a psychologist, that was something that was brought up in session, that it bothered her. But under her contract, I'm pretty sure she had to see like every single person. Honestly, guys, if you're at the job, okay, if you're at a job, right, and somebody's being inappropriate towards you, you're doing your job, you're doing your thing, and you have a coworker or whatever it is, and they're inappropriate towards you, what do? You go to HR. That shouldn't be your responsibility. You should be able to do your job, do what you need to do, and go about your day. But if someone's being inappropriate towards you, you go to HR. If HR isn't getting the job done, then what? And like a lot of people say, well, just leave. I mean, some of these jobs are like ones that you really, really want, or some that you really, really need for the betterment of your career. So you're not just gonna like bounce out of nowhere. Her job was to deal with his mental issue. What do you do? What do you do? Okay, if you're a mental health professional, okay, and you're dealing with this is ridiculous. I shouldn't even have to talk about this. If you're a mental health specialist, right, and you're dealing with someone that's, I don't know, like a sociopath, okay, and and they start doing very like numerous things to make you feel uncomfortable. Usually you can just say, hey, yeah, you got to go. But she was working under the San Antonio Spurs. They should have protected her. This makes sense. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's up with this weird victim blaming. It's strange. Exactly. Yes, mental issues, not sexual assault. This is ridiculous.
To resolve this matter is going to require some change. There's going to have to be some protocols put in place at the San Antonio Spurs organization for reporting and dealing with, in an appropriate way, this type of behavior. Organizations can no longer choose what they call their assets, that is, players like Mr. Primo, over people. Hiding conduct like this isn't acceptable. Sweeping conduct like this under the rug won't be tolerated. Dr. Coffin wants to be a catalyst for the change that is needed in professional sports. She has had an outpouring of support since this story became public. She tried to do things the right way. The Spurs, of course, took a different approach. And despite the expected criticism that we expect to happen, it happens in every one of these types of cases, criticism from fans and naysayers and what I like to call, these tough guys behind their keyboards in their basements, she knows.
Does that actually exist? I hear that a lot. Are there actually people like that are tough guys in their basement on the computer? Like, do we still have those? I'm sure we do. Yeah, we probably do. By the way, can I go ahead and say this? I'm in the mental health field, okay? So a lot of the stuff that's in the comments, that makes it even more disgusting because some of you don't know anything. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about.
That coming out and speaking out for change and standing up is the right thing to do. She wants to be a part of that change. No one is more qualified than her to help make that change. I want to say this too. I'm calling upon anyone who has been a victim of Joshua Primo to contact us. We want to hear from you. Also, anyone who has information that might assist us, we want to hear from you. We intend, as we have done in the past, to do a very detailed deep dive.
By the way, can I say this? If he did it, and I have like a thought, I don't know this for sure, but I do have like a theory on this whole thing with him doing this to the psychologist. But if he did it 9 times with her, okay, and let's just say, for the people in the chat that says that she's lying, okay, let's say he did it 4 times, because I guess 4 times is okay. Is 3 times okay? 2? 1 time. Let's say he did it 1 time, and it's okay that he did that, right? So let's say he did it once with the psychologist, right? And then he did it in Las Vegas, which that's pretty confirmed at this point. And then the one in Minnesota, that was actually put out like before anyone even knew anything about why he was released. Okay. So let's just say it's 3 different occasions, 3 different environments in which he did this. I'm just gonna make an assumption here. I'm pretty sure he did it way more times than just those times. I'm just gonna make that assumption, okay? It's just throwing it out there. Also, I know something else, but I can't say it on stream. There's something that I actually end up finding out. It's not something that's like super damning where it's like, you guys really need to know, but it is something that I found out that makes me believe that he did it even more, to be real with you.
On Mr. Primo and the Spurs organization, and we're going to make sure that everything that's been previously swept under the rug is made
John
public.
Cena, if he did it, hit up this dude.
Now, it's a great honor for me to introduce to you Dr. Hillary Coffin. She has a statement she would like to make. I will come back after she's made her statement.
Okay, Josh Paredes, I'm gonna pull it up.
Some closing remarks, and then we'll take a few questions. Doctor?
I have an obligation under Texas state law and HIPAA, which I take very seriously, and I will not violate.
Okay, she talks way faster than him, so you slow it down.
I am disheartened to be standing here sharing the events of my story, but I'm also very humbled and honored to have the place to share words that others may have not been able to. I'm a clinical sports psychologist. I'm a mother of 4 wonderful daughters. I'm a woman, and I am a victim. I am many things, but I'm not alone in the fight to do the right thing. The right thing is saying, no, this is not okay, to hold people accountable, to make systemic change, and to protect those that suffer in silence. The right thing is also saying, I'm sorry. I have failed you, and we need to do better. My passion is to help others learn how to thrive in their world and to help organizations develop a culture of care. The organization I worked for has failed me. And in turn, I failed those around me when I wanted to make change. I spoke up.
Josh Perez, hopefully I said that right, I'm sorry. Can you tell me what your IG name is? And we'll take a look at it. I don't see you.
I asked for help. I gave options. My voice and my feelings, my actionable items were silenced. Due to their inaction and protection of their assets, other individuals were impacted, and for that, I am truly sorry. I ask for everyone listening to do not jump to harsh criticism or conclusions. This is a sensitive...
I know, yeah, she does. She has a bunch of daughters. I actually went on her IG. I didn't put it on stream or on any videos because people are weirdos, apparently. Yeah, I can look in the chat and see there's a bunch of weirdos. But yeah, no, dude, she has daughters.
Matter. And these are humans who are impacted. We cannot assume, but we can take action. It took the Spurs 10 months to do the right thing. That's too long. My hope is that all who hear can learn from this. I hope through this I can be an agent for change. It's never too late for us to change and to be better. Thank you.
That was nice. Dude, I don't see, you'll have to, yeah, I don't see a dog.
The case we have filed,
Story doesn't flow? All right, we'll go through a timeline in a minute.
of course we will distribute it for you, seeks justice for Dr. Coffin. Her job was taken from her through no fault of her own, but this case is bigger than that. As you heard, she wants change to be made. Formalized protocols to address these types of issues. Players are obviously very important to an organization like the San Antonio Spurs, but they aren't any more important than anyone else. When a report is made, it must be acted upon. There has to
She lost her job too. Yeah, they didn't renew it. Yeah, they didn't even hit her up for a renewal after she complained about Primo.
be responsibility and accountability, and that's really all we're looking for here. With that, we'll take a few questions. Probably a lot of your questions will be answered if you get your hands on that petition, but I'll take a few questions either from myself or the doctor.
What if the Spurs wanted to actually confirm if it was true? Nowadays, with all this Me Too movement, we have women that actually suffered from abuse finally open up and print. I don't know what to tell you. I think the Spurs did do that. I think they were investigating the Minnesota situation, and that took them a few days. And they were like, yeah, you got to go. So I think they did an investigation. I don't see the Spurs just like throwing someone out randomly. I don't know. A lot of money goes into these players. So, yeah, as they were saying, these assets, they're not going to just throw them out the door. They got, yeah, they figured some stuff out, found some stuff out.
Doctor, depending on what you want to ask.
I just want to clarify, Tony, I'm Tom Osborne with the San Antonio Express, and I think the answer is here in the lawsuits you said.
Anyone who guys, I'm getting a headache. Oh my God, I'm getting a headache. Anyone who sues their client employer might have some reason not to have her contract renewed. Are you stupid? Like, seriously. Like, are you just actually stupid? I mean, genuinely, are you just dumb? You can answer. Are you just stupid? I know the answer, but you can try to answer. Are you just dumb? Jeez.
Correct.
Oh my God, why she never made the publicity after the first exposure? Correct. Oh my God. Even if she did, you would have still been saying, why is she making it now that Primo's in his second year? You would have still been saying it. You would have still complained. It doesn't matter. If it wasn't her and if it was the housekeeper back in Minnesota, you would have got angry that the housekeeper was doing it. It's like, oh, what does she want out of this? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what situation, what scenario you would have been happy with. If she said it the first time, you would have been pissed off. If she said it the second time, she would have been pissed off. It's the ninth time she speak up, you're still pissed off. If it was the housekeeper, you would have been pissed off. It doesn't matter who said it, you would have been pissed off. Because it's a you problem. You have no idea what you're talking about. Jesus.
Have you heard from any other women about this case?
I have not. I expect I will. Anybody else?
There was allegedly other conduct by Primo in Minnesota and Vegas.
Like there's no situation in which you would have been content with it. Like there's no situation in which you would have been content where you would have said, "Oh, okay. Well, maybe Primo did this to her." There's no situation. It doesn't matter. No matter what happens, you're gonna find a way to say that they're lying or it's not true or what do they want out of it. No matter what, because you have this preconceived notion about women or something weird going on with you. You need some help, my guy.
Are those other women who are expecting to come forward, or what was they?
I'm hoping they come forward.
It's hiding here.
Criminal complaint will be filed. Where would that be filed?
Dude, I hear nothing. I'm trying to hear the questions. I don't hear any of the questions.
Will be multiple places or just Bear County?
I know for sure Bear County.
Have you coordinated with the district attorney in Bear County on this?
We're talking to them, yes, now.
What are you guys seeking in the lawsuit between the Spurs and Primo?
I think we made it pretty clear. It's not about money, obviously. This is about putting in place formalized protocols.
Okay, I don't believe him. When he said it's not about money, I think you care about the money. But hold on, I'm trying to listen. I can't hear the questions.
That when a professional, and it doesn't have, here you have, of anyone who could come forward and say, look, this happened, we need to address this is a problem, there's something clearly wrong here. I mean, there's no one more qualified and credentialed to come forward and say that. And this is the way they treated her. Imagine somebody who doesn't have a PhD.
That's a good point, though. No, that's actually a good point. I know he's a lawyer, okay? Lawyers are bad, but this is actually a good point. That is insane. If half of the things that they've already accused the Spurs of doing is true, that's pretty bad, especially her who has like so many degrees. I mean, look at the chat. Look at the chat. Look at the attitude of the chat from this woman with 5 degrees. They don't care. They don't care what her credentials are. They don't care. They don't care what position she was with the Spurs. All they see is, oh, woman accusing, she's wrong.
Somebody who's not credentialed, somebody who was not, at the top of her field. This needs to change, and it needs to change now.
What evidence do you have that something happened in Minnesota and in Vegas?
Just reports that we received from the team. I mean, the truth is, all of this came about, all of this became public because of people from the Spurs.
Hillary, you kind of touched on this, but how disappointing is it that, what you...
What does her degrees have to do with it? Nah, nothing really. I don't think it matters. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I'm just saying as far as a status, you know what I mean? Like, because people will see that and say, okay, this person is more, credentialed or maybe more trustworthy, or at the very least has some type of, discipline that we can kind of go by and be like, oh, okay, they have some, like, I don't know. I don't think it matters. I don't care if it was the custodian of the arena. I mean, I wouldn't care.
Love and the career that you worked so hard.
Also, you know what's insane to me? Let me just say this. My whole channel over the past like several months has been non-stop Primo. Like, Primo is great. Primo's going to be a star, which I still, I don't take that back. I still believe he was special, on the court. But all these things, Primo's great. I said so many things about Primo, okay? Every single day, I was thinking of videos to do on Primo because I just loved Primo that much. And even me, I can sit back and see the BS and see through the leaves and say, hey, this is sussy, right? Like, I can sit back and say Primo was wrong. But you guys, not all of you, obviously, but some of you, man, good God.
For in this instance, has been taken away from you.
Don't mess with me, Ruru. You had no idea this would go down, okay?
Yeah, I was honored and grateful to even have the opportunity to be embedded in a team. It's very rare to have someone that has the chance to build something with an organization, and I chose to build something with people that I trusted. And I feel like, more importantly, I've lost the impact to help other individuals in that organization. It was taken away from them, and I lost my job, it's really hard.
After the initial saying so in January,
Sussy.
what was the last contact you guys had after Minneapolis, after something happened there?
Yeah, you're right. No, Cam was right. I gotta chill. It's not the fact that they love Primo; they just hate women. Yeah, that's basically it.
Lisa Primo, what was the last contact you guys had with the Spurs?
The letter that we received yesterday threatening us from Primo's counsel, which I thought was kind of funny, to be honest. But we had a meeting, I think, scheduled for November 10th.
Threatening them, Primo's camp threatening them. I believe him because we're gonna look at Primo's lawyers and they are so incompetent.
We had a meeting scheduled for November 10th with lawyers for both Primo and the Spurs, and then of course Primo was released, and somebody from the Spurs leaked this issue to the press, and then we started getting calls, and then so here we are.
How does Spurs?
Wait, what happened? We're near the end too. Hold on, I missed that. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention. What
Scheduled
happened?
for November 10th with lawyers for both Primo and the Spurs, and then of course Primo was released, and somebody from the Spurs leaked this issue to the press, and then we started getting calls, and then so here we are.
Have the Spurs offered any sort of apology for anything that has happened thus far?
No, but we surely hope they will.
Hillary, after nothing happening with him for so long, what were your feelings whenever he was finally released?
Mixed emotions. I mean, I'm glad that action has been had. I can't speak to what the action or the release was that they chose to let him go. Yeah, there's anger, there's sadness, there's confusion, but I can't speak to why they let him go.
Interesting. All right, well, that's the video there. All right, guys, we're gonna get into something else. Also, I completely agree with you, Farron. Is it? Wait, no, Ollie didn't say that. Who said that? Hold on. Ruru and Rich Boy are literally in the chat. Just protect the chat, man. There's some weird people in here. Protect the chat by all means, okay? It's okay. It's all right. All right. Yes, let's get out of here on this one.